Kyle Klingman with Track Wrestling. We get to go to Georgia today. We have the head wrestling coach at Life University, Omi Acosta. He was an NAIA champion for Grandview in 2012. And you got to point out his shirt right away. Wrestling is life.
Yeah, man. Yes, it is.
Is that a pretty popular shirt down there?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like it. I mean, because it's the definition of what we're going right now. Right now, we're going through tough times, and wrestling, teaches you that great tenacity to go overcome adversity. So yeah, it's pretty popular. Every time we have a camp, we usually, make shirts like this and give it out to the campers and stuff like that. So it's pretty good motto to live by.
Tell us about Life University. For those who don't know, you're an NAIA program. You have a women's team coached by Ashley Sword, and then you have the men's team. But great push right now. A lot of people finding out about the program, hopefully, but doing some great things. Tell us about the concept behind Life University and what the university is all about.
So we're a small college located right outside of Atlanta. The city that we're located in is called Marietta. So it's literally probably like 5 minutes from, 5 to 10 minutes from downtown Atlanta, right down the street from the airport. We're exercise science, science-based institution. We have different majors that go from, nutrition, exercise science, positive psychology. We're not your average liberal arts college. We got 12 majors that the school focuses on, and we embrace those majors. And usually, the guys that we get in here, they want to study either exercise science, business or psychology. So it plays out really well.
Grandview is the powerhouse in NAIA. Of course, you went there and were part of that powerhouse. Do you model what you do after what Nick Mitchell does at Grandview?
Mitchell did a lot for me. I learned a lot from him. But getting to the point that I coached under a couple different coaches, and now is the time for me to build my own legacy. And I learned a lot from Mitchell. I used a couple of things that I learned from him, but now I'm doing the things that I want to do. Obviously, I learned great things at Grandview, but now it's about what I'm doing at LifeU, and it's about what I'm doing for my program.
What are the couple things you learned at Grandview that you apply, and what are the new things that you want to apply to your program?
At Grandview, when I first came in, I came in from a junior college, and I wasn't doing the right things. And as soon as I got in, Mitchell was the mentality they had is that if you want to be good at wrestling, you have to be good at everything else you do in your life. So that meant a lot for me. Like for a person that wasn't fully committed to wrestling, I wanted to hang around more, go back to Miami more, and everything. Mitchell taught me that if you want to be great at something, you got to be great at everything else. So I started living the right lifestyle, started living the championship lifestyle. That's what they call it at Grandview. And then from there on, it changed my life. And what I'm doing here at Life is kind of similar. It's the same, same speech, same thing, but it comes down to like if you want to do the right things or not. And another thing that I'm grateful for that that I learned through with Mitchell is the fight mentality, which is like no matter what, you always show up and fight. Here at Life we call it lucha, which essentially means fight in Spanish. So that's like the mentality that I'm trying to instill to my guys, that like show up anywhere you show up at. You got to give you 100%, and you get better every day if you do that.
When did wrestling become part of your life?
I moved from the Dominican Republic when I was 16. And when I was 16 years old, I went to South Dade High School down in Homestead, Florida. And that's when my wrestling career began. And I wrestled under Coach Victor Barmosita down in South Dade and Coach Doug Reyna. Then from there, I went to a junior college. I was pretty successful there. And then I ended up at Grandview.
So you'd never wrestled prior to 16?
No.
Did you pick it up right away?
Yeah, I mean, I went to a really tough high school. South Dade's a pretty tough high school. And I picked it up. I mean, it was rough couple of years, but after that, I ran with it, and I got really good at it. And I went to a junior college, and I won a national title too in junior college, and then that's when I ended up going to Grandview.
What made you stick with it? Because it is a hard sport. You pick it up at 16. How did you get through those battles to stay with a really hard sport?
Just my upbringing. Like I wasn't really wrestling, but I was like overcoming adversity constantly, coming from a, Dominican Republic, growing up without a dad. It's a rough place over there. And, it was just, wrestling is a cool sport. It's a legalized street fight. And I love, I love the hand-to-hand combat. I was pretty good at Taekwondo and Judo and things like that. So it just was kind of like a outlet for me to, to go out there and, beat people up illegally, So it was pretty awesome.
Tell us about your upbringing in the Dominican Republic. What was that like?
Uh, like I said, I didn't have a father figure growing up. I had my uncles, a whole bunch of cousins growing up in a inner city third world country. Getting hit by hurricanes and things that I could think back right now that made me tough is like we get hit by a hurricane, we don't have water for multiple months, so we have to walk miles with water buckets, and climbing trees to get mangoes and things like that. Those are the cool things that in reality kind of like made me a better athlete because I had to do it to be able to feed and support my family at that time. So those little things were now I look back at it, I wouldn't change it for anything, but it was pretty rough times down there.
How about the influence of your mother?
Yeah, my mom, she was a warrior. I still, talk to her every day. She's like one of the most important and most influential women in my life. Single mom, she was in the United States working and me and my sisters and, all my other cousins were in Dominican Republic, and my mom would send money back to support us and stuff. And she just, by herself, she raised, a family of, 5 to 6, my two sisters and then my cousins, my grandma. She was the only one in the United States being able to supply and work here and be able to send money back over there. So, it was a hard time for her for sure. And now, pretty sweet that I get to help her out and pay back to her for what she did for me and my family.
Think about your progression: Dominican Republic, Florida, and then you go to junior college. You end up in Des Moines, Iowa. Was that a culture shock going there?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Especially my first year there. And I'm pretty sure if you talk to Mitchell about it, he'll tell you my first year there was rough. Um, Wrestling wasn't my main priority. I wanted to go back home. I wanted to be in Miami. Miami's, I come from a little island, so I have to be by the water, by the ocean, being able to go to the beach. So here I'm now in Iowa with snow, which I have really never seen before. And it was pretty rough. And then wrestling was pretty serious. So, and people ask me like, oh, why will you go to Iowa to wrestle? It's like, if you want to go to be a movie star, you go to Hollywood. So I was like, I'm gonna go to Iowa and wrestle over there. And just the culture over there is great. And it took me a year to kind of like buy in and embrace it. And then my senior year, that's when I really like enjoyed it. And I wrestled. I did successful in Iowa, and then I decided to stay there. And I helped Coach Granby for a little bit for 3-4 years, and then after that, I went 1 year at the Coast Guard Academy, and then another year at Granby, and then I got the job here at Life.
Did Iowa ever feel like home to you?
Yeah, it's still home. I visit all the time. Like I was just there probably like 2 months ago. One of my best friends got married, so I usually go back. Usually every other, I go usually once or twice a year.
Grandview has won the last 9 NAIA championships, and it's not just winning; they're crushing the field. How do you beat those guys?
A lot of people ask that how you beat them. There's no trick. You just gotta outwork them, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not worrying so much about beating them. I'm just worrying about being the best coach and having the best team that I could possibly have. Because if I worry about beating them, I'm gonna go crazy. You know what I mean? So I just stay patient and do the things that I could control and worry about my guys. And then one day we'll probably be competitive enough to be right there.
Talking about going crazy, you're a fun guy to watch on the sideline. What energy do you have? How do you bring that out when you're coaching your guys?
Oh man, it's cool to see, guys that go out there and put it all on the line, and there's guys out there that just get me excited, especially the guys on my team. So, like some of them, they feed from that energy, if they see me going crazy on the side, they know that they're going to go out there and fight for me. So it's just sweet, man. Like I got the best job in the world. I get to, literally watch my guys that I train and mentor them to do the right things on off the mat, go out there and compete at a high level. So it's pretty rewarding and makes me go crazy. So I probably need to settle down a little bit, but it's fun.
When you think about where you came from and your upbringing and the adversity you faced, and then just looking at the beautiful office you have right there, does it feel like a dream sometimes?
Oh yeah, it's a dream. I tell people all that all the time. Like every time when I do a camp or people ask me, I talk to kids and tell them that they could do it too. I will never thought that I was that kid that came to America and didn't know English. That will have my own office. That have my own team. That will be coaching all Americans and possible national champions. It's a dream come true. I go into my office, watch some film, study, get better at wrestling, and it's just a blessing. And it could be done if you surround yourself with the right people and you live the right lifestyle. You could do anything you have your mindset to, and it's pretty sweet. Wrestling pretty much changed my life, and without wrestling, I will not have an education. And now I'm here. I'm 30 with a master's degree with a great office, like you mentioned, living in a great city. So it's pretty awesome.
How many kids do you want to have in your program wrestling throughout the year? I mean, you have a big roster. Do you have a
Yeah.
number in mind that you want for your team?
Yeah, in the beginning, everybody wants to wrestle. I mean, in the beginning, everybody, all the local guys that come here want to wrestle. All want to be national champs, right? But as the season goes by, it trickles down little by little because not everybody's wanting to do the thing that I demand. I demand people to live the right lifestyle on and off the mat, and the roster size goes down little by little. So the perfect number right now, we're probably going to be coming in with 70 guys, 80 guys or so. By the end of the season, we'll probably end up with a solid 60 guys. So, just the ones that want to do the right things. And I'm pretty good at picking out the guys that want to live the right lifestyle or not. So I usually, tell them to probably go play another sport.
That's a massive number, 70 to 80 and down to 60. How do you manage that many student athletes?
I have a lot of assistants, I am the only full-time coach, but we have like academic coordinators here that are full-time that actually help me with the academics. So they help me on that side, keeping the guys on track. And then I have a whole bunch of, I have 2 graduate assistants, and then I have a whole bunch of part-time coaches that get part-time stipends that we keep around. So I know, it takes, an army to be able to get these guys going. And, I got the help that I need right here.
You know all their names?
Yeah, in the beginning, they have to earn their name. So in the beginning, usually the ones. So this is how it works. Obviously Georgia's a big state. There's a whole bunch of wrestling classes here in Georgia. So there's a lot of guys that just want to come in and be part of something special. They come in and they wrestle. They're usually local guys, and then we get the guys that come from all over the place. So in the beginning, it's a little bit hard, but then once I click with them and they show me that they want to be here, then it's an easy relationship. And you could ask any kid on the team that, I remember Naia, I know who they are and everything. They just have to show me they want to be here.
Is that where you recruit most, is the Georgia High School State Tournament?
I'm from Florida, so I recruit a lot from South Florida area. And then obviously you get the Georgia kids. I recruit a lot of Georgia kids too. And then you get your junior college transfers and your, older 4-year school transfers.
How do you get them to buy into the NAIA product? It seems like there's a lot of good kids going that route. How do you get them and educate them about that division?
A lot of people get caught up in a whole division thing. It's all about being, it's being in the right fit. The kids that I want are guys that want, like I say, it just comes down to, if they want to do the right things or not. Here, the main goal is to get a college degree, right? And then you could also get a college degree by competing at a high level. The whole division thing, division, 2, 3, it's all the same. It doesn't really matter. The end goal is getting a degree in the end. And the NAIA is a really competitive division. We could compete with anybody else in the country. You put the top programs in, D2, D3, we could compete with them, and it's just selling the dream, get a college degree and compete at a high level.
How do you like having a women's program there too?
Oh, it's pretty awesome. I mean, they're badasses themselves. They compete at a high level. They're cool. I like it. And it makes it better. We're both tough programs in the men's division and women's division, so it makes the school, more appealing. More people want to come here because we have, a tough wrestling culture, both in the men and women.
What's your current situation with bringing kids back to school and maybe starting the season?
Right now, the same thing. Like if we didn't, have a pandemic, we have the same plan in hand. Guys are gonna start reporting here soon. Like I said before, we're on quarter, so we don't start school till October. So we're gonna start getting, trickling in, getting guys on campus around mid-September, and then after that, start conditioning and start training. Like if, and God willing, we're gonna have a season. So right now we're staying optimistic and keeping our head down, and we got to go to work